What's going on, guys? It's your boy CMB, back in the building, back with another video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into this one really quickly, guys. So today, guys, we're talking about David Benavidez, and we're talking about Deontay Wilder once again. You guys get a 2-for-1 in this video. So let's tackle David Benavidez first, guys. David Benavidez, the former WBC super middleweight champion of the world. You guys know he has a fight coming up in August with Jose Uzcategui, the former IBF super middleweight champion. You guys know he lost that title to Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, but he is a formidable opponent. That's going to be a tough fight. I think it's going to be a great fight between him and David Benavidez. Now, David Benavidez, he was doing an interview with Little Giant Boxing. I invite you guys to go check the channel out. And he was asked about his dream fight, and he brought up Jermall Charlo. He said he was willing to go down to 160 to face Jermall Charlo. Now, you know, him and Jermall Charlo, they had been going back and forth for a minute. Jermall Charlo said that he'd be willing to go up to 168 and he'd knock David Benavidez out. David Benavidez called his bluff on it. Jermall kind of shifted his energy a little bit. I hate to use that word because it's so cliche, everybody's using it, but I'm going to use it anyway. And he talked about, you know, he didn't want to fight any fighters under 25. He talked about getting the Johnson & Johnson vaccine before he fights. He talked about not being a fighter at 168. He fights at 160. He said a lot of stuff, and people kind of assumed or came to the conclusion that, you know, he really didn't want to fight David Benavidez. It was kind of obvious that he didn't want to fight David Benavidez. But with David Benavidez willing to come down to 160 to face Jermall Charlo, honestly, there's nowhere for Jermall Charlo to run from David Benavidez. I said that if Jermall stays at 160, his best options, of course, is to face the champions at 160. He's trying to get a fight with Triple G. We know he's not going to get that fight, and his best option is Demetrius Andrade. You know, that's really his only option of facing the champion, of unifying at 160. Triple G's trying to face Ryota Murata. So if he doesn't fight Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez is willing to come to 160 and he's staying at 160, then I think that's his best option to put himself in position to face off against Canelo Alvarez. Because let's face it, both of these guys want that fight. Demetrius Andrade wants that fight also. So he can either face Demetrius Andrade, or if David Benavidez comes down to 160, then he can face off against David Benavidez. I think those are his best options. They're tough options, but sometimes, like I said, you got to go the hard route. So we're going to keep our eyes open on this one. See what happens with this. David Benavidez still has his foot on Jermall Charlo's neck. Now, guys, let's get into Deontay Wilder. We talked about Deontay Wilder yesterday. Some people were upset with what I had to say about Deontay Wilder, and some people claimed that I was hating on Deontay Wilder, and I really wasn't hating on Deontay Wilder. I've supported Deontay Wilder in the past. I've gone to his fights. I've ordered his pay-per-views. I've bought his merchandise, but I don't agree with everything that Wilder says or does. You know, I don't agree with anybody all the time, and I'm just not that type of person. You know, I can support you and still disagree with something that you say or you do. But you know, some people don't feel that way, and that's their prerogative, and I understand. Guys are passionate, and you know, when you say something about their favorite fighter or somebody that they really admire, you know, they're gonna get upset about it. But you know, it comes with the territory. But anyway, guys, I want to talk about Deontay Wilder's emotional state going into the fight. I touched on it a little bit yesterday, saying that Wilder should not go into this fight angry. Now, I did watch the interview that he did with 78 Sports TV, and I heard Counterpunch Boxing this morning talking about Wilder saying in the interview how he mentioned that he wanted to retire Tyson Fury amongst other things. And we know what that meant when he said amongst other things. We've heard Wilder in the past say that, you know, he wanted to have a body on his record. And honestly, guys, I think it's a mistake for Wilder to go into this fight in an emotional state. You know, when you go into a fight into any situation in an emotional state, you tend to make mistakes in whatever you do. Sometimes you regret them because you're so emotional. I said it before. He should go into this fight calm, thinking about the game plan so he won't make mistakes. You go into a fight full of piss and vinegar, you're gonna make a mistake. And keep in mind, guys, Tyson Fury, whether you love him, whether you hate him, you know that he can box. He has skills, we know that. And the Crunk Gym is no joke. And he's been training, I think he's been sparring like 15 rounds with these top young guys at heavyweight. Jared Big Baby Anderson, F.A. Ajagba. These guys are the future of the sport. So you know Tyson Fury's taking this fight very seriously. So Deontay Wilder going into this fight in an emotional state, in my opinion, I think that's I don't think that's a good plan. I think he should be focused, calm, and focusing on the game plan going into the fight so he doesn't make mistakes. Just being emotionally charged. That's what I think. Tyson Fury, even though he has pressure going into this fight, I think Deontay Wilder has added more pressure on himself going into this fight with the cheating allegations, with him talking about, you know, ending Tyson Fury's career. Some of the fans have really put a lot of pressure on Deontay Wilder to win this fight, and he doesn't need to have more pressure put on him by being full of emotion going into this fight. I just think that's a recipe for disaster. But that's just my opinion, guys. You tell me what you think about Deontay Wilder wanting to put a body on his record, like he likes to say, wanting to really end Tyson Fury's career. I just think he doesn't need to think like that going into the fight. I think it's just more added pressure. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.